The death of Laken Riley last month has ignited a political firestorm. The suspect in the nursing student's killing, Jose Ibarra, is an undocumented immigrant from Venezuela. Laken was tragically killed while she was on a run along a popular University of Georgia trail. Her father is speaking out for the very first time, saying he does not like that his daughter's death is now at the center of the immigration debate.
I feel like she's being used somewhat politically.
How do you feel about that?
It makes me angry. She was much better than that. She should be raised up for the person that she is.
This month, the House passed a new bill called the Laken Riley Act that requires migrants who enter the country without authorization and are accused of burglary or theft be detained. Joining me now is the co-sponsor of the Laken Riley Act, Georgia Republican Congressman Mike Collins. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is such a tragedy to think about this young woman's life being taken and in the way that it was. You've just heard her father, and he is disturbed that her death seems to be part of a political debate, and it makes him angry. Do you think that her death has been politicized, Congressman?
Well, Laura, first of all, I want to tell you thank you. I appreciate you having me on just to talk about the Laken Riley Act and how we got it through the House and over to the Senate. And as I recall and keep watching and listening and reading what her father's statements were, to me, it seems that he is more implying that the divisiveness in the country just over immigration, period, and how they have been inundated with phone calls from both sides. And so I think that is so important, and I'm glad you brought that out because it's so important just to draw a big distinction between what we're trying to do here with the Laken Riley Act. And when I was speaking with her mother and her stepfather, their family, they said, Mike, if there's just anything that Congress can do to make sure that this doesn't happen to another family in this country, please do it. And that's why we decided we look back through this, what happened, what the case looked like, and that's how we came up with the Laken Riley Act, which you're exactly right. You know, it simply gives one more tool to law enforcement and helps them to be able to detain these people, call ICE in and detain these people and deport them, because as we know, smaller crimes get to bigger and larger and more dangerous crimes, which is exactly what happened in this case.
You know, to clarify, if I think people may be hearing it and think to themselves, well, if this is a case about homicide, why would something that goes to the accusation of burglary or theft in any way have deterred or prevented this from happening? But as you say, this bill would require ICE to detain any migrant who committed burglary or theft, but it would also allow states to sue the federal government if an immigration-related action harms the state or its citizens. Now, your fellow Georgian Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock called your bill, quote, smoke and mirrors. He said it's been put forward by lawmakers who are not serious. What is your response?
Well, I think that just the mere fact that this bill passed the House with bipartisan support, we had over 36 Democrats join every Republican in the House to pass this in very good fashion. And I think once we get down to the details, and we've had a number of senators say, we want to take a look at the details of the bill. I know how to get legislation passed, Laura. As a matter of fact, I am the first freshman that got a bill signed into law, and it was common sense bill that helped law enforcement at that time. Basically about what we're doing now.
Well, Congressman, speaking of business, I mean, there is the plan, the business plan, and there's the execution of it. And some look at legislation as the business plan, and then you got to have the rubber meeting the road. And when you look at the legislation, one of the critiques will be, and has already been, that, look, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, they're facing a big budget shortfall. So does the agency have even the ability to execute what is being asked in this bill in this way? I mean, does it account for a plan to, say, increase the holding schedule, given that, you know, that there's a backlog of immigration courts and judges?
You know, Laura, if this bill can save the life of one more American so that they don't have to go through what the Riley family has gone through, then it's worth it. And I'm sure that ICE would feel the same way. I'm sure anybody in law enforcement. That's what they love doing. That's what they signed up for. They didn't sign up for a budget or to get up there and complain. They love what they do. I've met with them. I see them out there. I'm constantly out there. Law enforcement is one of the biggest issues that I have in Congress. And feel confident that they look forward to doing their job because they don't want to see anything like this going on and anything like this to ever happen again in our country.
Well, Congressman, I don't doubt that they want to do their jobs, but the ability to actually do it and also comply with the due process requirements that we do have in this country, are you concerned that the indefinite detention of one who, as we know, there is a presumption of innocence, even for those who are undocumented, are you concerned that this bill will undermine that in a way that is running counter to what it means to have an American legal system?
No, I'm not worried about that at all. This gives more tools for ICE to pick up these criminals. There are people that are crossing this border every day with criminal intent on their mind. It's what they did when they were in that country that they came from. In this case, you look at him or his brother. His brother was part of the Venezuela gang that attacked the police officers in New York City. This guy, Ibarra himself, was in New York City and got picked up and detained in New York City before he moved his trade down to Athens, Georgia. So we start getting these people off the street, we start detaining them, that in itself is a deterrence. That in itself will send a signal out there to the rest of these people that want to come over here and do harm to Americans that we're not going to put up with it anymore. We're going to charge you, we're going to detain you, we're going to put you in prison, and we're going to deport you.
Thank you, Congressman, for joining us this evening.
Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking time to talk about this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you.